Romantic Tales. Chapter 118. Huimin slowly opened the rectangular gift box. Inside was a brand new rose gold 6S. It turned out to be a phone. Huimin looked at her old 4S, which was discarded by her brother Jixin. She bought a 5 for Jixin, so Jixin gave this black 4S to Huimin. Huimin thought it was quite useful, so she kept using it. To her surprise, Qin saw all of this and gave her a new one. Although she felt that it wasn't right to accept it like this, it would be too pretentious if she refused. After all, she already accepted a 1,000,000 yuan salary. How could she be short of a phone that cost a few thousand yuan? Thinking of this, Huimin took the phone back to her room and manually cut the SIM card. She changed into a new phone. Then, to test the resolution, she even sat on the bed and took a selfie. She didn't know that her phone's iCloud was shared with Qin. In other words, every photo she took on her phone would automatically be displayed on Qin's phone. Therefore, when Mr. Qin, who lived next door, saw Huimin in her pajamas with a peace sign, he was shocked. The corners of his mouth curled up and he smiled. Huimin then logged into WeChat and saw a new message from someone who had added her. She opened it and saw that it was from Qin. She clicked accept and added him. The first thing she asked was, "How did you know my WeChat ID?" To her surprise, Qin immediately replied, "I searched the people nearby." Huimin immediately found that function and quickly turned it off. She actually hated the ability to search the people nearby, because she felt unsafe and didn't want to add strangers. However, since Qin added her, it was fine. After all, they lived under the same roof. Just then she received another WeChat message. Qin sent her a transfer. 8,888 yuan. Huimin clicked accept and then replied, "Thank you." Qin didn't make a move. The next morning during breakfast, Huimin glanced at Qin and said, "I'll be working the night shift this week. I won't be back at night." "Why do you have to work the night shift?" Qin frowned, obviously unhappy. Huimin smiled helplessly. "I don't want to either, but this is the hospital's rule. I can call Wu Zhongxing and ask him to cancel your night shift." "No, don't hit me. If the director really transfers me to the day shift, then the night shift will belong to other colleagues. I will be a sinner in our department who doesn't work the night shift. I don't want that." "Alright, as you wish." Seeing that Huimin didn't agree, Qin didn't say anything more. But, "Thank you for the phone and the red packet, ahem." "Then thank you for your breakfast," Qin replied inexplicably. Huimin didn't know what to say. On the way to the hospital, the two of them didn't say anything. Qin had his Bluetooth earpiece on and seemed to be listening to his assistant's report. Huimin didn't dare to say anything either. When they got out of the car, Huimin saw that Qin was still busy, so she silently opened the door to get out. However, Qin suddenly grabbed her left hand. She came back to her senses in shock and looked at him. Qin took off his earpiece and asked, "How long will you be working the night shift?" "About a week." "Do you rest during the day?" "Yeah, I sleep at home during the day." Qin didn't say anything and let go of Huimin's hand. "Then I'll get out of the car, drive safe." Huimin waved her hand and got out of the car. Qin watched her walk into the hospital before driving away. Morning meeting at GK headquarters. After the department heads finished their reports, Qin looked around and slowly said, "I have something to announce." All of the executives immediately perked up their ears and listened carefully, afraid that they would miss out on something important. Starting tomorrow for the next week, all employees will take the day off and work at night. As soon as he said this, everyone was dumbfounded. "President Qin, this? If anyone feels uncomfortable, they can hand in their resignation letter. That's all." After speaking, Qin stood up and left. Assistant Yang silently followed behind the president, once again exclaiming at his boss's willfulness. "President Qin, I wanted to ask, are you doing this because you want everyone to get used to the time difference? If we move our headquarters to the States in the future, won't everyone be used to it?" Assistant Yang suddenly asked. Qin faintly glanced at him and replied, "You're thinking too much." No one knew that Qin only came up with this idea because he wanted to spend time with his wife during the day. "Huimin, come here, it's urgent." The head nurse waved her hand and yelled at Huimin. Chapter 119. Head nurse, what's wrong? Huimin jogged over to the head nurse, thinking that something had happened to the patient. "Hurry up and change, it's too late." The head nurse pushed Huimin into the changing room, leaving Huimin confused. Head nurse, I'm still at work, why do I need to change? Didn't I say that I was going to introduce my cousin to you? He's here today at the coffee shop downstairs. Hurry up and change so you can talk to him. My cousin is very outstanding. The head nurse was used to being serious. Why was Huomian not used to gossiping? After Huomin changed, she finally sorted out her thoughts. The current situation was that the head nurse was going to introduce her to someone. Was she going to change into casual clothes and go on a blind date? But she was already married. Was it really appropriate for her to go on a blind date? With that thought, Huomin decided to come clean and tell the truth. After all, lying was not a good thing. Therefore, she opened her mouth and said, Head nurse, the situation is like this. I think you might have misunderstood. I'm actually already. Before she could say the word married, the head nurse interrupted her. He's sitting by the window in the cafe downstairs. There's a young man in a white shirt. That's him. Hurry up and go. So, head nurse, the patient in room 5's water broke. Please arrange for an operating room. The other nurses anxiously shouted. Okay, I'll be right there. Then the head nurse patted Huomin on the shoulder and encouraged her. Go, you can do it. Hey head nurse, I'm not done yet. Huomin looked conflicted. However, the head nurse had already left in a hurry. If she didn't go, then wouldn't it be rude to make him wait there? Clenching her teeth, Huomin decided to meet the head nurse's crazy cousin and explain everything to him face to face. After changing out of his white lab coat, Huomin put on a yellow short-sleeved shirt with a Mickey Mouse pattern and a pair of light blue jeans. She didn't even have time to comb her hair. Her hair was spread out wantonly, giving off a fluffy feeling. The early summer wasn't that hot and humid. Occasionally there would be a cool breeze. Huomian took a deep breath and walked into the coffee shop they had agreed to meet at. Sure enough, she saw a young man sitting by the window. He was dressed in white and sat there quietly. Huomin didn't even know her name. It was only because the head nurse had kindly introduced her that he was embarrassed to not come. Hi, nice to meet you. I was introduced by the head nurse. Huomin mustered up the courage to greet her. The man turned around and glanced at Huomin. He nodded faintly. Oh, please take a seat. Huomin then took a seat opposite him. What would you like to drink? Water is fine. Huomin smiled awkwardly. Waiter, give this lady a glass of lemonade. He made the decision. Then he glanced at Huomin and carefully studied her facial features and clothes. Then he slowly said, My cousin told you what I do for a living, right? She did. I'm a forensic doctor. Yes, I'm a forensic doctor. I was specially hired by the Ministry of Public Security. I studied forensic medicine at the University of Maryland in the United States. I'm the youngest forensic doctor in our province. May I know your name? Huomin was actually not interested in this person's profession at all. He just wanted to tell him the truth after knowing his name so that he wouldn't misunderstand. Perhaps he didn't expect the young lady sitting opposite him to be expressionless after hearing about his brilliant academic background. Instead, she calmly asked for his name. Chapter 120. My name is Lin Mingyu. Lin as in, Ming as in the moon and Yu as in the universe, he explained calmly. Lin Mingyu wasn't considered handsome, but he was a young man with regular features and delicate features. She was wearing the latest Armani design, and she was wearing a Cartier ring on her index finger. With such a flashy outfit, he did not look like a forensic doctor at all. However, one could not judge a book by its cover. Huomin hesitated for a moment and introduced himself in the same way. My name is Huomin. Huor as in Huyunjiao and Mian as in sleep. Mian as in sleep? Very few people use this word for their names. Why not Mian as in K-pop? Lin Mingyu was curious. I'm not sure. My mom gave it to me. Huomin was speechless. Bright Huomin. What an interesting name. Lin Mingyu took a sip of his coffee and sighed. Mr. Liu, I'm actually here for, don't worry. My cousin has told me about your situation. I heard that you graduated from a third-rate university and are still an intern nurse. You only have a younger brother and a mother who live in the suburbs. Your brother is still in university and your mother runs a small supermarket, right? That's right. My family situation is like that. The head nurse treats me very well, so she thinks too highly of me. I don't think I'm good enough for someone like you. So, we're not suitable. Huomin was relieved that Lin Mingyu took the initiative to talk about this. After all, if it could be solved easily, he did not have to explain his situation. Unexpectedly, Lin Mingyu continued. I'm not such a superficial person. I don't care about conditions. My cousin said that you're a good person. You're serious and hardworking. I've seen your photo before and I think you're quite delicate and pretty. I don't ask for much from my future wife. As long as you're virtuous, it'll be fine because my income is very high. After we get married, you don't have to go to work at all. You can just stay at home and take care of the children. What do you think? I think you're thinking too far ahead. Huamin was a little speechless. Of course not. These things can be done immediately. You know the nature of my job. I'm very busy, so I don't have time to date. If I like the other party, I'll get married immediately. I don't want to waste time with each other. So these are all very realistic problems. Everyone has their own opinions. What you said might be right for you, but it's not my standard. Anyway, the head nurse is kind and I'm very grateful to her. You're also very outstanding, but we're not suitable. Thank you for the coffee. I think I should be going. Huamin stood up apologetically. Yeah, I think I should go. Seeing Huamian's reaction, Lin Mingyu felt a little uncomfortable. Did the blind date fail? Was he given a PSAA by an unknown nurse? Mian. Huamian paused. I want to know, what do you not like about me? Lin Mingyu had gone on many blind dates. Most of the time, it was the girls who took the initiative to contact him. Lin Mingyu was a highly educated returnee. His parents were leaders and he came from a wealthy family. He drove an Audi Q5 and had an annual salary of 600,000. He had a house and a car. Wasn't this perfect? He did not understand. Huamin was just an intern nurse. His family was poor. Why was he acting so pretentious? I don't like anything about you, Huamin answered honestly. Then why are you in such a hurry to leave? You keep saying that we're not suitable for each other. Aren't you trying to eliminate me? Lin Mingyu asked unhappily. Chapter 121. Eliminated? I don't think so. It's just that our education and background are too different. We're not compatible at all, so there's no need to continue the conversation. But I don't mind. But I mind, Huamin said with a smile. When Huamin smiled, faint dimples appeared on both sides of her cheeks. It was very beautiful. Lin Mingyu admitted that he did not think highly of this intern nurse before he came for the blind date. He just wanted to give face to his cousin. However, after interacting with her, he realized that this nurse was different. If I don't mind, why do you mind? Lin Mingyu asked gloomily. Because I know my place. Huamin continued to smile. It's good to know your place, but it also depends on the situation. I've already made it very clear that I don't mind that you don't know anything. If you're afraid that you won't have a common language with me because my job is too special, I won't blame you. After all, the nature of a forensic doctor's job is very special and it's very difficult. It's not something that ordinary people can communicate with. That's not a problem. I'm not worried about that. Huamin was an honest girl. When she said this, she did not think too much. However, the speaker did not mean it, but the listener meant it. Lin Mingyu was already angry. When he heard Huamin's words, he laughed mockingly and said, "Ha, what do you mean that's not a problem? From what you said, you seem to know something. Don't blame me for not reminding you. The professional knowledge of a forensic doctor is very deep. It's not something that you nurses learned in medical school. Do you understand? Don't think that you know a lot. It's true that you know your place, but don't you think that you're pretending to know something when you don't?" "I'm not. I'm just telling the truth," Huamin calmly stated. "What kind of truth? You're just a nurse from a third-rate medical school. What kind of truth do you know? I'm very curious." Lin Mingyu's tone was full of disdain. He had always been proud of his professional knowledge. In the past, when he went on blind dates, there were girls with higher education who tried to talk about professional knowledge and show off to him. In the end, they were all speechless. However, Huamian, this little nurse, was boasting shamelessly today, which really pissed him off. "Mr. Lin, I think you can be too one-sided sometimes. Yes, I'm a nurse, but that doesn't mean that I don't know other professional knowledge. Education doesn't mean everything. On the contrary, many people who don't have high education make great contributions. What you're saying is all empty talk. It's meaningless. How about this? You keep saying that you know the professional knowledge of forensic medicine. Why don't we sit down and have a chat? We won't talk about anything else but our expertise. Do you dare? Hey, if this can make you change your prejudice against academic qualifications, I will be very happy. They have a seat." but I'll say the ugly words first. If you can't answer my questions, then you'll have to apologize to me seriously and take responsibility for your arrogant words and actions. All right. If you can answer it, then I will apologize to you. I will also change my prejudice against people with low education. What do you think? Lin Mingyu asked. Okay. Huamin originally planned to leave, but after hearing Lin Mingyu's words she changed her mind. If she didn't teach this pretentious forensic doctor a lesson, she wouldn't be able to take it lying down. Of course, if you admit defeat now, it's still not too late. I won't make fun of you because of this. No need. It's not my style to admit defeat without even trying, Huamin replied calmly. You're indeed very special. Lin Mingyu smiled. That's why, Mr. Lin, time is precious. Let's talk about your expertise, Huamin said seriously. Chapter 122. The corners of Lin Mingyu's mouth twitched into a mocking smile. Then he rested his chin on his hands and stared into Huamin's eyes. You should know the nature of our work as a forensic doctor. We need to extract the appropriate materials for chemical and biological examinations according to the needs. Then we need to conduct clinical examinations to observe the living body, determine the physiological and pathological conditions of the living body, solve the medical liability in medical accidents, and prevent infectious diseases, poisoning, etc. During this process, we will come into contact with 3 research methods, including chemical research methods, biological research methods, and physical research methods. What are these 3 methods? Of course, if you can't tell me everything, just give me a few representative ones and I'll consider you a pass. Lin Mingyu thought that Huamin would be confused after he asked these questions because it was too professional. Unexpectedly, after Huamin listened carefully, he looked at Lin Mingyu's face and replied, Chemical research methods include the use of chemical analysis methods to determine the qualitative and quantitative nature of poisons, the testing of feces and vomit for toxins, the use of chemical methods to determine whether there are bloodstains, and the use of biological methods to check the human body's enzyme types and genetic fingerprints, including DNA technology to identify individuals. Hearing this, Lin Mingyu was slightly surprised. He didn't expect this little nurse to know so much. Then Huamin continued, the biological research method is more interesting. In fact, it's the use of immune serology to identify the species and blood type of blood, semen, other liquid spots, secretions, bones, and hair of individuals and animals. The theory and technology of microbiology are used to study the bacteria and pathology of the relevant materials. It also includes the study of the age, gender, and racial characteristics of the corpses. That's right. Lin Mingyu nodded. He pretended to be calm and suppressed the surprise in his heart. Huamin glanced at him and said, As for the last physical research, it's also one that I'm very interested in. It's the use of physical instruments to determine the strength of the skin and bones, the use of X-ray technology to determine the age of the body's foreign bodies and bones, the use of gas chromatography, ultraviolet red spectrophotometry, mass spectrometry, magnetic resonance technology, neutron activation technology, and so on to qualitatively and quantitatively analyze poisons and drugs, and the use of spectral analysis, electrophoresis technology, and microscopy technology to examine the forensic evidence. Okay, I'm done. You didn't miss a single word. Lin Mingyu's gaze at Huamin had changed. There was no longer the contempt from before. Instead, it was replaced by shock and even dumbfounded. Do you still teach nurses these theories in medical school? Lin Mingyu's voice. How is that possible? I'm interested in medical science, of the human body's anatomy, and I've also studied neurosurgery and ophthalmology. I've read a lot of related books. And of the human bodies, of course, of the human body, of the human body, the human's human body. I of the medical knowledge, and 9 to every blind date. Every he was of him to be to every he to go, or to every to date to blind. It's nothing. It all stems from my own interests. Huamin smiled faintly. It's a pity that you're a nurse. I'm lacking an assistant in the Ministry of Public Security. If you're interested, you can fill in the form and take the exam in 3 months. If you pass, you'll be a part of the Ministry of Public Security. My cousin told me that you're a genius. I didn't pay much attention to it at that time. I thought she was exaggerating. But now it seems like you're really smart. I think you're very smart. Lin Mingyu finished his speech in a serious manner. Instantly the blind date turned into a job fair. Huamin didn't know whether to laugh or cry. No need. I think I'm doing pretty well now. There's nothing wrong with being a nurse. Lin Mingyu didn't expect Huamin to reject his invitation so easily. It was such a rare opportunity. Since you're not interested in being my assistant, then be my girlfriend. After so many blind dates, I finally found someone I like. Huamin. That's right, it's you. I like you. Lin Mingyu pointed at Huamin and solemnly announced. Chapter 123. Mr. Liu, I'm really sorry, but I can't agree to your request. Huamin originally wanted to teach Lin Mingyu a lesson for being pretentious and looking down on people with low academic qualifications. He didn't expect that Lin Mingyu would take a liking to him and even ask to be his girlfriend. Why? Aren't we suitable for each other? You know so much about forensics, we'll have a lot of common topics to talk about. After we get married, I can even send you to the United States to further your studies and get a medical license. With your talent, it's entirely possible for you to become an ophthalmologist or a brain surgeon. You're so young, you should have these dreams, right? You misunderstood, my dream is to be a normal nurse. I'm very happy right now. I don't want to further my studies and I definitely don't want to get a medical license. Why? Lin Mingyu asked for the second time. Everyone's path is different and no one has the right to choose the path for others. I'm very grateful that you think so highly of me, but that's not what I want. As for the girlfriend thing, I want to sincerely apologize to you. I came here this time to tell you that I have someone I like and I already have a boyfriend. The head nurse didn't have time to listen to my explanation, so she misunderstood. I'm sorry for the trouble I've caused you, but I still don't want to lie, so I'll just tell you what I want. You have a boyfriend? Lin Mingyu was slightly disappointed. Yes, because I broke up with my ex-boyfriend. The head nurse thought that I was still sad, so she kindly introduced me to him. Actually, I already have a boyfriend, he's my high school classmate. I've known him for many years and we have a very good relationship. Before we get married, nothing is certain. Don't jump to conclusions too early, Lin Mingyu said, unwilling to give up. Huamin only pursed his lips and smiled. I was a bit impulsive just now and I even showed off in front of a professional forensic doctor like you. I'm really sorry, don't take it to heart. No, I'm the one who's sorry. Your performance today shocked me and it also changed my mind. I will never judge a person based on their academic qualifications again. Lin Mingyu was now filled with respect for Huamin. If that's the case, that's great. I wish you a happy life and work in the future. After that, Huamin stood up and said goodbye. Huamin, can we be friends? Lin Mingyu suddenly shouted from behind. Huamin didn't say anything, nor did he turn around. He only stretched out his right hand and made a gesture with his index and middle fingers. Lin Mingyu smiled. This was probably the most special blind date he had had in the past few years. When she returned to the hospital, the head nurse immediately pulled her into the office and whispered, "How was it? How was my cousin?" "Not bad. Are you two dating now?" the head nurse asked anxiously. No, I'm sorry, head nurse, we're not compatible." The head nurse was slightly disappointed. "It's okay. I'll introduce you to someone better in the future." "No need, I already have someone I like, head nurse." "So fast? Who is it?" My high school classmate." "You kids, seriously, why do you all want to go back to the same old grass? High school classmate, middle school classmate, what's the point?" the head nurse exclaimed. Huamin only smiled. That night, while they were having dinner at the hospital cafeteria, Huamin and Huang Yu were chatting. Then a female doctor next to them was chatting, which caught Huamin's attention. She said, "GK's new president is crazy. He announced that for the next week he'll be off during the day and working at night. What a weirdo. My boyfriend has to work overtime because of him. I finally didn't have to work the night shift this week, but now it's his turn." That's crazy. How come this is the first time I've heard of a company that works at night? It's not like it's a flow-through processing plant. Why do we have to work at night? Isn't that torture? Huamin's heart skipped a beat upon hearing this. Did Qin Chu's order have something to do with her? At this thought, she took out her phone and quietly sent a WeChat message to Qin Chu. Chapter 124. Are you there? Yes, Chin-Chu replied almost instantly. I heard that your company has been working night shifts for the past week. Yes. Why? Because night shifts are good. Chin-Chu's answer was extremely willful. What kind of stupid answer was that? Huamin thought that GK's sudden night shift definitely had something to do with her. She wasn't overthinking things, otherwise, how could it be so coincidental that GK's entire company was working night shifts when she was working night shifts? I get off work at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. What a coincidence, I also get off work at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning, Chin-Chu replied. Huamin didn't know whether to laugh or cry. What coincidence? It was clearly according to her shift schedule, alright? You'll be home after work tomorrow morning, right? Yes. Then let's talk, I have something to talk to you about. After sending the WeChat message, Huamin sighed. He didn't have the appetite to eat anymore. If GK's entire company was implicated because of her night shift, then she would be a sinner for eternity. According to the Buddhist scriptures, it was a sin and she would go to hell after death. At the thought of this, Huamian felt a chill run down her spine. Man, why aren't you eating? I'm full. You didn't eat much, your appetite is bad and your complexion is pale. Are you pregnant? Let's go to the ultrasound room later. I'll give you a picture, Huang Yu teased. Why would I be pregnant? More like I'm in love. Huamin tapped his junior sister's head with his chopsticks. After interacting with Huang Yu for a long time, he realized that she was a sweet, naive girl. She was young, pure, and had not been contaminated by the big dye vat of society. Other than going to work and getting off work, she would spend her days watching romantic Korean dramas. The truth was Huamin often envied Huang Yu. At least she lived a simple life, like a child with no worries. After staying up all night, Huamin finally got off work. Last night, Huamin had taken care of a pregnant woman who was about to give birth naturally. The pregnant woman was about to give birth, and the baby would be born in a few days. They heard that she had married into a rich family, so her mother-in-law and husband strongly urged her to give birth naturally, saying that a C-section was not good for the baby. However, after Huamin looked at the data, he realized that this pregnant woman did not have the conditions to give birth naturally. First of all, the baby's umbilical cord had to be wrapped around the neck for 2.5 rounds. This was quite dangerous. They were afraid that the baby would suffocate during delivery. Another thing was that the pregnant woman's blood pressure was obviously high, and there were 2 more plus signs in the urine test. This was a sign of gestational hypertension. During the ultrasound, the obstetrician said that the child's weight was estimated to be between 7.5 to 8.5 pounds. With such a heavy weight, if it was smooth, it would be much more difficult. Because the pregnant woman was thin and small, she was petite and exquisite. She was about to give birth, but she was less than 60 kilograms. Huamin was really worried. Last night, the pregnant woman's cervix had been dilated by 2 fingers. She had been in labor pain, but she still couldn't give birth. The pregnant woman's mother kept crying and tried to persuade her to have a C-section. It would be safer. However, the pregnant woman gritted her teeth and said no. If she had a C-section, her mother-in-law and husband would not be happy. She endured for an entire night, but in the morning she still didn't give birth. The pregnant woman was in so much pain that her face was pale, and she was sweating profusely. Huamin's heart ached when he saw this. Huamin, let's get off work. I'll take care of this pregnant woman, said the young nurse who took over the shift. Lin, keep an eye on her. If there's any danger, immediately tell Dr. Wu to help her deliver the baby. Her situation is very complicated, so don't delay it. Don't worry, I know. Huamin got off work worriedly. However, as soon as she walked out of the hospital, she heard the sound of a car horn. She immediately looked up and saw that Chin-Chu had gotten into that low-key white CC again. Why are you here? Huamin was a little surprised. He said he would meet her at home, but he came to the hospital to wait for her. Chapter 125. It's on the way. Chin-Chu glanced at Huamin and said. Huamin didn't say anything else. She opened the door and got into the car. After a night of exhaustion, she was mentally and physically exhausted, so after getting into the car she closed her eyes and rested. Chin-Chu didn't say anything. Instead, he turned on the music in the car. A melodious sound came from the car. It was a song by Shui Munyan. I woke up crying because I dreamed of you leaving. I watched the night wind blow through the window. Could you feel my love? When I grow old, would you still be by my side? I watched the lies and vows slowly drift away with the past. So many people admired your face when you were young. But who was willing to endure the merciless changes of time? So many people came and went in your life. But I'll always be by your side. Huamin was going to sleep, but after hearing this song she woke up. Although she was born in the 90s, she didn't chase after celebrities. She just liked listening to old songs, especially those that were popular in high school. Previously, she had a USB drive with many of her favorite songs downloaded from it. Later, when she moved in a hurry, Chin-Chu didn't let her bring anything, so she lost it. Now that she thought about it, it was quite regretful. She remembered that the first song on the USB drive was Shui Moon Yen's My Life With You. She didn't think that she would be able to hear it in Chin-Chu's car. It was quite a surprise. But when she heard that the next song was Lu Ruing's When Love Is Near, Huamin couldn't stay calm. She opened her eyes and asked, "The order of your songs is the same as mine. What a coincidence." This USB flash drive was found in the old house he used to live in. Hearing Chin-Chu's words, Huamin was shocked again. "So, you took my USB drive and didn't tell me? And you didn't even tell me. Do you know how rude you are?" Huamian was a little angry. "I'm using my own things. How can you call that rude?" Chin-Chu quibbled. "Please, this is mine, okay?" Huamin argued. "We're husband and wife. All our assets are shared. What's yours is mine," Chin-Chu announced domineeringly. Huamin held his breath and retorted, "So that means I own half of GK Corporation. I'm sitting at home now, so I'm a billionaire." "That's right," Chin-Chu replied lightly. He didn't care about property at all. Therefore, he did not do any premarital property notarization at all. Especially for Huamin, he was willing to give anything. Seeing how easily Chin-Chu answered, Huamin didn't have the heart to continue arguing with him. He just sighed slightly. "Chin-Chu, don't let GK's employees work night shifts. Who in the office would stay up all night? That's nonsense. You called me here to talk about this?" Chin-Chu raised his eyebrows, clearly unhappy. "Yeah, I accidentally heard about it when I was eating in the cafeteria. There are so many people in GK. Do you know how many people your decision will affect? I don't want that. You're not a child, so you can't be so willful. Hurry up and change the time." "Sure." Seeing how easily Chin-Chu answered, Huamin wondered why he was so easygoing. Then he added, "Unless you kiss me." "Come on, they're your employees. What does that have to do with me?" Huamin was speechless. "It's true that GK's employees are my employees, but I'm your husband. If you make me happy, I'll change their time." Seeing how shameless Chin-Chu was, Huamin had no choice but to quickly kiss him on the cheek. "Okay, hurry up and call everyone to change their shifts. I didn't ask you to kiss my cheek. Why did you have to act on your own?" Chin-Chu looked at Huamin in confusion. "You bastard." Huamin gritted his teeth and glared at him. "Let's do it again. This time you have to kiss my cheek," Chin-Chu ordered domineeringly. Chapter 126. "Chin-Chu, don't push me too far," Huamin warned with a frown. "What? Are you embarrassed?" "It's okay, I'm not embarrassed." Before Huamin could say anything, Chin-Chu slammed on the brakes and stopped the car on the side of the road. Then he pushed Huamin down. Chin-Chu was very aggressive with this kiss. Huamin almost couldn't breathe. After some time, someone knocked on the car window. Chin-Chu opened the window impatiently and saw a traffic policeman standing beside the car with a ticket in his hand. "Parking is not allowed here. You will be fined 200 yuan. Who knew that Chin-Chu would take out a few hundred yuan bills from the car and hand it to him? "Here, keep driving." The traffic policeman didn't know what to do with the money. Were all rich people so willful? They let the traffic policeman write the ticket and then they would have sex in the car? "Chin-Chu, get up. You're suffocating me." Huamin pushed him away with all her strength. Next time you're on top." "Shameless." Huamin got up with a red face and quickly tidied up her messy hair. Chin-Chu elegantly wiped the corner of his mouth, then started the car and drove away. The traffic policeman was left alone in the wind with the bills in his hand. Chin-Chu finally drove to a seafood restaurant. He knew that Huamin was a seafood lover, so he specially came to this restaurant. 7 years ago they had often eaten seafood together. However, Huamin didn't know that Chin-Chu actually had a sensitive stomach. Eating seafood could cause enteritis. But even so, he still ate with her without saying a word. The two of them ordered a table full of food, all of which were Huamin's favorites. Isn't this a bit too extravagant? Huamin sighed. You don't have to pay this time. Chinchu's mouth twitched. That's not what I meant. I just think it's a waste not to finish it. Then finish it. Are you really? Huamin felt that sometimes he really couldn't communicate with Chinchu. Who knew what kind of nonsense was in this guy's head? Sometimes his answers were so infuriating. This seafood restaurant was very famous in Sea City, and the environment was also very high-end. A meal would cost at least tens of thousands of yuan, so there were not many people there. Most of them were rich people. Huamin did not expect to meet Huasiqian in this place. It was truly a small world. Hi, little sister Mian. He always greeted her with a smile. Huasiqian was hugging a girl with a hot body and big breasts. Obviously, she was not the one he met at the hospital last time. As for Huasiqian's private life, Huamin knew that Huamin was very indecent. He often changed female partners and often appeared in the entertainment headlines. The paparazzi were going to dig up the so-called four princes of the nation. Huasiqian also did not expect to meet Huamin here. Most importantly, the person beside Huamin was Chinchu. I didn't expect to see you two together again. Huasiqian smiled. Chinchu did not even raise his head. He only replied coldly, you should be glad that you can see this in your lifetime. What a surprise. Are you guys rekindling your old flame? Huasiqian's smile was a little complicated. Huamin raised his head and said impolitely, what does it have to do with you? As her brother, I naturally have to care about my sister's marriage. I've been preparing for Dad's birthday party. You'll come, right? Are you kidding me? What does it have to do with me? You're so heartless. Dad will be disappointed. He won't. Huayanyan is enough for him. He won't care if I'm heartless or not. But after we met last time, Dad asked me a lot about you. I can tell that he really wants you to come back. That's impossible. He won't even think about it, Huamin said firmly. It seems like you don't want to come back to the Hua family now that you have someone to rely on. But Mian, are you sure that Chinchu can protect you for the rest of your life? He won't abandon you and run away from the country like 7 years ago? Huasiqian smiled strangely. Upon hearing this, Chinchu and Huamin's expressions changed at the same time. Chapter 127. Huamin threw her lobster fork onto the table with a clang. She stood up and said, what right do you have to tell me what to do? Oh look, my dearest little sister is angry. She's so charming when she's angry. Huamin was very angry and wanted to say more, but Chinchu grabbed her waist and said, Mian, let's go. Huamin was still angry when they walked out of the restaurant. Why did you pull me away? I should have taught him a lesson. Listen to me, avoid him from now on. Don't get close to him, he's very complicated. Chinchu had always thought of Huasiqian as a very dangerous person, so he didn't allow Huamin to get close to her. The truth was Huamin had always been avoiding him, but he was always there. 7 years ago he was still like this 7 years later. Young Master Hua, who was that woman? She's my little sister. Huasiqian smiled. Don't you only have one sister, Yanyan? The woman was a bit surprised as she looked at Huasiqian. Yeah, she's also my little sister, my dearest little sister. Huasiqian smiled. Because of Huasiqian's interference, the seafood feast was ruined. What a pity. We paid for the food but we didn't eat it. What a pity. Huamin pouted in the car. I told them to pack it up and send it home. Upon hearing this, Huamin immediately gave her a thumbs up. That's smart. This seems to be the first time you've complimented me like this, and it's for food. Should I be happy or should I be? Chinchu looked at her faintly. Huamin coughed dryly and didn't say anything. After they drove back to Imperial Park, it wasn't long before the restaurant came to deliver their food. Pack up everything they ordered and bring it back. Then the two of them began to eat happily. During dinner, Chinchu casually asked, Hua Jinghai wants you to go back to the Hua family? Huamin nodded. When Grandma passed away he asked me about it, but I rejected him. Think about it, he didn't care about me for so many years. Now that I'm all grown up he came to find me. Don't you think it's funny? He might have a reason for looking for you, Chinchu analyzed. Of course, I'm guessing it's about the inheritance rights. Right now the Hua Corporation is in the hands of Huasiqian. Even though he's only the vice president, I heard that Hua Jinghai has been stripped of his position and can no longer control his eldest son. Over the past few years, Jiang Hong and her adopted son have been secretly infiltrating the corporation, winning over people's hearts and bribing the board of directors. It's only a matter of time before they get rid of Xinjiani and her children. Hu Jinghai probably saw this coming, so he planned to use me to go back and rightfully give me some shares. Then he'll give them to Xinjiani, which will be enough to protect them from being kicked out of the board of directors. I thought you didn't pay attention to these things. I didn't expect you to investigate so thoroughly. Qin Chu always knew that Huamin was shockingly smart, so he wasn't surprised when she acted this way. I don't need to investigate this. I can tell just by looking at the financial news. It's only a matter of time before the Hua family's inheritance fight happens. Even biological brothers will fight, not to mention that they're not even born from the same mother. Hua Xiqian is adopted, so if he inherits the power, Hua Jinghai won't be satisfied. Hua Si is his biological son, but he's too cowardly. I think this is his karma. Now that he wants to use me to protect his second wife, there's no way. I'm not an easy person to deal with. Qin Chu nodded, agreeing with Huamin. The Hua Corporation's money isn't that attractive, but if you want, I can buy it over at any time, Qin Chu said casually. Huamin shook her head. No need, I'm not interested in the Hua Corporation at all. The two chatted as they ate. After Huamin finished cleaning up and was about to go upstairs, she noticed that Qin Chu's face was pale and weak. What's wrong? You don't look good, she asked worriedly. Chapter 128. I'm fine. Although Qin Chu said so, his face was very pale. As a medical staff member, Huamin could tell at a glance that he was not feeling well. Qin Chu, tell me, where are you feeling unwell? Huamin was very anxious. He was fine just now, why did he suddenly become like this? It hurts a little here, Qin Chu said slowly as he pointed at his abdomen. Huamin looked at the position and touched it with his finger. It shouldn't be appendicitis. This isn't the position of the appendix. No, we can't delay. Let's go to the hospital now. Oh, it's not a big deal. No, you have to listen to me. Huamin was angry. Qin Chu was a medical doctor from a top international university. It was unreasonable for him to insist that he was not feeling well. It's just enteritis. It's not a big deal. In the end, Qin Chu told him the truth. Huamin was slightly stunned. Enteritis? How can there be enteritis? Oh right, we just had seafood. Oh my god, you can't eat seafood? Huamin looked at Qin Chu with wide eyes and a face full of disbelief. Qin Chu did not say anything, but this meant that he admitted it. However, Huamin clearly remembered that 7 years ago when the two of them were together, Huamin loved to eat seafood, so Qin Chu often accompanied her to eat seafood. At that time she did not notice anything. Could it be that he had been hiding it all this time? Why didn't you say that you can't eat seafood? Huamin looked at Qin Chu and asked sternly. Because you like to eat it, Qin Chu replied slowly. Huamin was even angrier after hearing this. What kind of bullshit answer was this? Did he have to risk his health just because she liked to eat seafood? I'm willing to eat arsenic. Do you want some? Huamin said angrily. That works too. Damn it. Qin Chu, you idiot. Get up and go to the hospital. Without another word, Huamin reached out to grab Qin Chu's arm. This was the first time Huamin had cursed since they had reunited 7 years ago. Not only was Qin Chu not angry, he even laughed. Because this was the real Huamin from 7 years ago. Let's go to the hospital. Hurry up. Huamin couldn't take it anymore. Qin Chu looked at her red face with amusement and pulled the corners of his mouth. I'm a doctor and you're a nurse. We have 2 medical staff in our family. Why do you need to go to the hospital? You'll be fine after taking some medicine. No, don't try to fool me. Acute enteritis is very serious. If you don't treat it in time, you'll become dehydrated. You'll need an injection. There's backup medicine at home. Now give me the injection. Qin Chu stared at Huamin with endless gentleness in his eyes. There's medicine at home? Where is it? Only then did Huamin let go of Qin Chu's arm and stand up. There's a first aid kit under the cabinet in the living room. The 4 tube is also in there. Huamin immediately ran over and took out the first aid kit. He opened it and saw that it was indeed complete. There were even daily medications and in 4 tube. Why did you prepare these? This is the first time I've seen someone prepare in 4 tube. Huamin was speechless. Because I want to eat seafood with you a few more times, Qin Chu answered nonchalantly. Huamin's heart ached when he heard this. Just because he loved seafood, Chin Chu stupidly prepared medicine and an 4-tube to treat enteritis. After eating with her, he would secretly give her an injection? He was really risking his life to accompany her. When Huamin gave Chin Chu the injection, her face was dark from beginning to end. There was not a trace of a smile on her face. She felt extremely depressed. Indescribably depressed. After the injection, Huamin checked the flow of the 4-tube. After everything was normal, she got up and took a pillow, placing it behind Chin Chu. Chin Chu was flattered that Huamian took care of him personally. He was like a child, his eyes filled with surprise and happiness. Chin Chu, let me ask you, why didn't you tell me earlier that you can't eat seafood? Huamin stared into Chin Chu's eyes as if she was interrogating a criminal and asked angrily. Because after being with you, I'm used to it. Used to what? Used to giving yourself an injection after eating seafood? Chin Chu nodded. Huamin reached out and pinched Chin Chu's devilish face. She scolded, "You big idiot. I'm an idiot and you're a genius. We're a perfect match." Chin Chu smiled. However, Huamin's eyes were red. "Min, why are you crying?" Seeing Huamin cry, Chin Chu began to panic. Chapter 129. I'm fine. Huamin choked on her tears and turned her head away. Chin Chu lovingly raised his arm to wipe away her tears, but Huamin immediately grabbed his hand and put it down. "Don't move, your blood will recover." Chin Chu smiled slightly and didn't say anything else. "Oh right, did you change shifts for GK's employees?" Huamin suddenly remembered. "Yes." "Really?" Huamin questioned. "You can see for yourself if you don't believe me." Chin Chu took out his phone, pulled up the company's surveillance footage and showed it to Huamin. Sure enough, the employees went to work as usual. Huamin was relieved. "You should rest at home today, don't go to the company." "It's okay, I'll go after the fight." "No, you can't go even after the fight. Rest at home," Huamin ordered forcefully. "Will you stay with me?" Chin Chu asked. Huamin was a bit embarrassed, so he didn't directly answer, but he didn't refuse either. After a while, Huamin slowly said, "I'm working the night shift today, so I'll be home all day. Tell me what you want to eat and I'll make it." "Can I eat whatever I want?" Chin Chu tilted his head and stared at Huamin, his eyes shining with a golden light. Huamin knew that this guy was up to no good again. As expected, Chin Chu asked, "Can I eat you?" No. Huamin immediately refused. Chin Chu was slightly disappointed. He looked down at the 4 in his hand and didn't say anything else. Seeing how wronged he looked, Huamin felt bad and comforted him. "I'll make you some vegetable porridge. You can't eat greasy food with enteritis." "So you're saying that I can't eat you because you're too greasy?" Chin Chu looked up and asked mischievously. Huamin was immediately furious. "Do you want to die?" "I'm not greasy." "Yes, you're fat but not greasy." Huamin was furious. If this guy wasn't sick, she really wanted to throw him out the window. Although it was the 16th floor, she couldn't care less. Of course, the immature side of Chin Chu's personality was exactly the same as he was 7 years ago. Not only was he evil, but he was also sharp-tongued. Back then they had quarreled and quarreled non-stop. In the end, they inexplicably quarreled with each other. Whenever she reminisced about this relationship's deep, she would have many beautiful moments. If it weren't for those external factors, Huamin felt that meeting Chin Chu would be the most beautiful moment of her life. Unfortunately, the tragedy that followed. After Huamin finished cooking the porridge and served it to Chin Chu, she received a phone call. After hanging up the phone, Huamin's expression subtly changed. As smart as Chin Chu was, he knew what was going on. "Was that a call from the hospital?" Chin Chu asked. Huamin nodded. 2 pregnant women suddenly came in. The hospital is understaffed, and the nurses from other departments don't have any experience in midwifery, so... She paused. "Go ahead. But your body?" "I'm a doctor of medicine. Forget enteritis, I can even perform a C-section on my own." Huamian burst out laughing upon hearing this. "Then I'll go to the hospital first. I won't be back until tomorrow morning. Rest well, don't fall asleep. Watch the 4. After changing, Huamin hurried out the door. Chin Chu was alone at home on his 4. He took out his phone and began to deal with the company's emails. GK headquarters, Lady Chin missed her son and couldn't wait any longer. She drove to GK headquarters. However, she found that Chin Chu wasn't at the company. Where's my son? She asked with a dark expression. President Qin didn't come today, but he told me to call him if anything happened, Assistant Yang said carefully. Where does he live? Take me there. Chapter 130. Madam, I'll give President Qin a call first. Please wait a moment. Yang learned his lesson and didn't directly tell the old lady the address of President Qin's new home. He couldn't afford to be blamed by his boss. After hanging up, Yang smiled and said, Madam, President Qin said he'll be here in half an hour and asked you to wait in the office. Lady Qin didn't say anything, but she looked unhappy. After the last fight with his father, Qin Chu didn't show up and didn't talk to them. Qin Yuman was stubborn and thought his son was stubborn, so he went on a business trip to the southern branch office and wasn't in the city. Lady Qin missed her son so much that she came to the company to look for him. After Qin Chu picked up the phone, he pulled out the 4 and drove to the company. Mom, you're looking for me? Qin Chu walked into the office, took off his jacket and sat on the office chair. Son, where have you been? Why aren't you in the company? I went out to discuss something, Qin Chu said casually. You don't look well. Are you not feeling well? His mother always paid attention to details. Yes, I've been busy recently. I told you not to tire yourself out. You can leave those tedious things to your subordinates. I really feel sorry for you. Mom, why are you looking for me? Nothing. I just missed you, so I came to see you. Qin Chu nodded and didn't say anything. He picked up the documents on the table and started to review them. Son, the president of Tiantong Group will be celebrating his 60th birthday soon. Are you? I don't have time. You and Dad can go to these kinds of business events. Qin Chu didn't wait for his mother to finish and directly refused. Lady Qin sighed slightly. Son, you're not young anymore. You can't always be busy with work. It's time for you to get a girlfriend. Even if you don't get married, it's good to have a relationship first. Your dad and I are getting old. We really want to have grandchildren soon. I know. Qin Chu's answer was obviously perfunctory. But there are already rumors spreading outside. Look at our family's status. How can we let those clowns talk about us? What did they say about me? Qin Chu put down the document in his hand and looked up curiously. It's unpleasant to hear. Anyway, hurry up and find a girlfriend. Mom won't worry about it. Even if it's not a good match, even if it's just an ordinary girl, Mom doesn't have too many requirements for you now. As long as it's a girl, it's fine. Lady Qin's heart almost broke when she thought about the rumor that GK's young master might be gay. Can anyone? Qin Chu asked. Yes, as long as it's a girl. Of course, there's also Huamin. Qin Chu's eyes darkened and he turned his head away. I'll handle my own matters. If you're not busy now, have a meal with Mom. Mom, I'm busy right now. Maybe another day. Qin Chu felt slightly uncomfortable when he heard that his mother still cared about Huamin after all these years. He didn't even give his mother a chance to eat. Seeing that her son was busy, Lady Qin didn't dare to say more and got up to leave. When she came out, she ran into Jiang Linyue, who was delivering documents on the top floor. Because of what happened before, Jiang Linyue didn't dare to enter the president's office. Instead, she handed the documents directly to the secretary's office or to Assistant Yang. Madam, you're here. Jiang Linyue smiled elegantly. Before Qin Chu came back to China, Lady Qin was also the CFO of GK. Therefore, Jiang Linyue was no stranger to her. Madam, if you're not busy, why don't you come over to my place? Ever since you left your position, I haven't been able to see you. I miss you a lot. Let's go. Lady Qin liked this sweet-talking girl. She knew that Jiang Linyue was a highly educated person who came back from abroad. She was smooth and talented, so she naturally liked her. Qin Chu was busy looking at reports in his office when Huamin called him. Mion. Are you done with the 4? Where are you? I'm at home. Really? Then let's do a video call. After speaking, Huamin quickly hung up. Huamin sent him another video call. Qin Chu had no choice but to reject the call. Then he sent a voice message. The company has cut off the internet today. I can't connect to the Wi-Fi and my phone is out of data. Huamin was furious when she saw this. She could understand if the company had cut off the internet, but she didn't believe that his phone was out of data. Did he look like someone who was afraid of wasting data? What a joke. Qin Chu, are you challenging my intelligence? Huamin sent a voice message. Chapter 131. I wouldn't dare. Chin-Chu never thought about challenging Huamin's 130 IQ. Then why didn't you accept the video call? Huamin was furious. Mion, I'm at the company, not at home. My mom came to the company and wants to see me. You don't want them to know about us, so I can't let her go to our new home, Chin-Chu explained patiently. Oh. After replying with a single word, Huamin didn't say anything else. Obviously she didn't like Chin-Chu's mother, who was the culprit behind Uncle Jing's death. Huamin put his phone in his pocket. Since Chin-Chu was fine, she didn't have to worry about him anymore, right? What was there to worry about? Didn't she say that she didn't love him anymore? She cared about him purely because he got enteritis from eating seafood with her. Yes, that was it. Huamin thought to himself. That night, while eating dinner at the hospital cafeteria, he vaguely heard someone say that He-Man had resigned. Apparently, Wu Xiaoshui couldn't tolerate her working at the ophthalmology department and couldn't let her spend time with Ning Ziyuan. Therefore, she found an excuse and transferred her to work at the morgue. He-Man knew how difficult it was and immediately quit. Apparently, before she left, she made a scene at the ophthalmology department, which made Ning Ziyuan feel very embarrassed. He-Man was a woman who wanted to stir up trouble. Originally, she wanted to force Huamin to leave. However, Huamin didn't leave but He-Man herself. She really shot herself in the foot. Mion, now that He-Man is gone, it'll be peaceful. That's right, so that you won't find trouble with me. I heard that He-Man was pregnant too. She wanted to threaten Ning Ziyuan into marrying her, but Dr. Wu was pregnant too. Ning Ziyuan knew who to pick, so he tricked He-Man into drinking abortion medicine. He tortured her so much that she didn't dare to come to our department for emergency treatment. I heard that He-Man got a curettage done at a private gynecology hospital nearby. After committing so many crimes, she was dumped in the end. If I were He-Man, I wouldn't be happy either. I would have made a scene too. When Huamin heard this, his heart ached a little. He truly felt that women did not have it easy. Why would a woman make things difficult for another woman? He-Man's current fate was truly too tragic to look at. I didn't know Ning Ziyuan was such a scumbag in the past. He's been with you for so long and treats you very well. Maybe he's just playing around with He-Man. How pitiful. Huang Yu sighed. Huamin did not say anything else. After all, it was someone else's business. Mion, you have to be careful from now on. I'm afraid that Professor Wu's next target will be you, Huang Yu reminded her quietly. It's fine, I'll just resign. There are so many hospitals around, I can always find another one. But I heard that Wu Xiaoshui is quite capable. She put out a ban on all the major hospitals and told them not to hire He-Man. He-Man is He-Man and I am me. I'm not afraid of her, Huamin slowly said as he put down his chopsticks and lost his appetite. After dinner, she and Huang Yu went to the consultation room to do ward rounds. He was busy all the way until 11 o'clock at night before he stopped for a while. Mion, I'm going to sleep for a bit. Can you keep an eye on her for me? Hey, go to sleep. I'll keep an eye on her. Huamin nodded. Just then she heard a commotion in the hallway. Huamin opened the door and was shocked. A man ran over with a pregnant woman in his arms. He kept yelling, "Help! Doctor, where are the doctors? Someone please save my wife." Huamin saw that the pregnant woman had already fainted. Her lower body was covered in blood and her dark blue maternity dress was dyed red. You wake up. Tell the doctor on duty to save the patient. Huang Yu woke up from her sleep and was also in a daze. Senior sister, the doctor on duty has already left. She said that something happened at home and there are no doctors who can perform a cesarean section at the moment. Should we help her give birth naturally? Huamin immediately shook her head. No, we can't. She's bleeding profusely. We need to stop the bleeding and give her a blood transfusion. If we give birth naturally, both her and the baby will die. We need to do surgery immediately. Huang Yu looked at the pregnant woman and said to the man, the doctors who can perform the surgery have already left. Why don't you go to another hospital? Oh, it's too late. My wife can't take it anymore. She's going to die. I beg you, please save her. The man's eyes were blurred from crying. He knelt on the ground with a thud, holding the bleeding pregnant woman in his arms. Huamin frowned slightly. After struggling for a while, she said calmly, you take her to the surgery room. I'll go prepare something. Mion, what are you doing? Huang Yu was confused. Perform surgery on her. After speaking, Huamin turned around and went into the disinfection room to change. Chapter 132. Huang Yu was dumbfounded when she heard what Huamian said. After Huamin changed, he put on a mask and walked out of the office. Who's the doctor on duty tonight? It's Wu Xiaoxue. Why did she leave in the middle of the night? Isn't she supposed to be on duty until dawn? Huamin frowned slightly. Huang Yu replied helplessly, she's the hospital director's niece, who would dare to say no? Of course she had to leave. Huamin picked up the office phone and dialed the number on the list. The phone rang for 5 seconds before someone picked it up. Hello. Huamian could tell that Wu Xiaoxue was asleep. Professor Wu, please come back for surgery. A pregnant woman is hemorrhaging and her life is in danger. Before Huamin could finish his sentence, Wu Xiaoxue interrupted him. What time is it? Are you crazy? Wu Xiaoxue asked. Then before Huamin could say anything, Wu Xiaoxue hung up. Huamin didn't give up, so he called Wu Xiaoxue again. However, her phone was turned off. He thought that since Wu Xiaoxue lived nearby, she would be able to make it if she drove over. It wasn't because Huamin wasn't confident that he could perform the surgery, but no matter how good her medical skills were, she was only a nurse. She didn't have a medical certificate, so if she took the risk of performing the surgery, not only would it be risky, but it would also cause a lot of trouble. After putting down the phone, Huamin looked at Huang Yu. You, if I perform the surgery, can you be my assistant nurse? Mian, are you serious? You're a nurse, not a doctor. Are you really going to perform surgery on a patient? Huang Yu looked at Huamian in disbelief. Huamin was extremely calm. We don't have time to think about that. This pregnant woman is hemorrhaging and won't last long. If we turn a blind eye, then 2 lives will be lost. I know, Mian. I want to save her too, but we're not doctors. The doctor on duty isn't here, so there's nothing we can do. I feel bad too. Plus, I can only be your assistant. I don't know anything about surgery. It's okay if you don't know, I know. Don't worry, just be my assistant. But, even so, we can't perform the surgery. The anesthesiologist isn't here. Huang Yu looked like she was about to cry. It was late at night and there was no anesthesiologist around. Therefore, in Huang Yu's opinion, transferring the patient to another hospital was the best solution. I can do it. Ugh. Huang Yu was completely speechless. Hurry up and get ready, there's no time to lose. Then Huamian put on her gloves and walked out. Mian, are you sure? This is a life and deaths. But no matter what Huang Yu said, Huamin seemed to have made up her mind and was going to do it. After they walked out, Huamin looked at the weeping man and said, Take her to the OR. Can we start the surgery? That's great. The man stood up excitedly and followed Huamin to the OR with the pregnant woman in his arms. Huamin had been in the OB/GYN department for half a year. She performed a few C-sections every day, so she knew the procedure by heart. Although she had never performed it before, she believed that she wouldn't make a mistake. However, she didn't have a doctor's certificate. If the patient's family looked into it later, it would be very troublesome. Of course, under normal circumstances, if the patient's surgery was successful and there were no sequelae, no one would look into it. After all, she only did this because the situation was urgent and she wanted to save a life. When the surgery was about to begin, Huang Yu was still worried. Mian, let's not do it, it's too risky. If the surgery fails, you'll be charged with medical malpractice. Not only will you go to jail, but you'll also have to pay a lot of money. Even if it succeeds, if the patient's family looks into it, you'll still be in a lot of trouble. We're not Jesus, we don't have to sacrifice ourselves to save others. I understand what you mean. I've thought about all the problems you mentioned, but I can't just watch 2 lives die in front of me, especially when I can save them. Do you know? When I was young, I had a dream. I wanted to be a doctor because I wanted to study the human body and understand the condition of the patient. I wanted to cure them and give them a second chance at life. That was the most meaningful thing I could do. After she finished speaking, Huamin didn't wait for Huang Yu to say anything. She took the anesthetic, picked up the thin needle, and inserted it into the pregnant woman's spine. Huang Yu was scared out of her wits. She knew that an anesthesiologist without professional training could make a mistake and cause the patient to be disabled for the rest of her life. Chapter 133. What are you waiting for? Put the catheter in the patient. Quick, I'm going to give her a blood transfusion. But do you know what the patient's blood type is? Huang Yu looked conflicted. At the same time, she was at a loss because this surgery was simply too unstable. There were a lot of things that had not been done yet. Something went wrong, it would be over. Huamin replied extremely calmly, I've already finished the test. It's type AB. I just took the blood from our storage room. Mian, is there anything that you don't know? How come you know everything? Huang Yu was so excited that she wanted to cry. They had known each other for more than half a year. How come this seemingly ordinary Mian was an all-rounder at critical moments? She was like Ultraman Superman. Don't be nervous, it'll be fine. You just have to do what you normally do. I'll take care of the rest. Huamin saw that Huang Yu was nervous and uneasy, so she comforted her. When Huang Yu heard her words, she gritted her teeth and decided to bravely complete this major surgery without any chief surgeon. Following Huamin's instructions, she immediately put the catheter in the patient and monitored the patient's data. Huamin gave the patient a blood transfusion, then put on an oxygen mask and began to stop the patient's bleeding. His speed was so fast that Huang Yu was speechless. The pregnant woman was lying on the hospital bed, completely naked. She was already in a deep coma. Therefore, Huamin used general anesthesia with the anesthetic because local anesthesia was no longer effective on her. Local anesthesia was only effective when the patient was conscious. However, general anesthesia was much riskier than local anesthesia because doctors were afraid that the anesthetic would affect the newborn's brain. Therefore, under normal circumstances, general anesthesia was not recommended unless it was a special case. However, Huamin and Huang Yu encountered one of these rare special cases. Xiao Yu, report the patient's data. Blood pressure 150 to 90, heart rate 135, pulse is a little weak, probably due to excessive blood loss. Her blood pressure is a little high. Let's lower it first and then I'll perform a C-section. Huamin put on gloves and carefully checked the pregnant woman's abdomen to see if there were any incision marks. If it was the first fetus, it could be cut open directly. If it was the second fetus, it would have to be cut open at the same place as the first one. This way it could avoid 2 wounds and a second injury. Sure enough, there was a faint mark on the pregnant woman's lower abdomen. It seemed that it was indeed the second child. However, this was even more troublesome because the wound from before had already healed, and the scar was very shallow. This increased the difficulty of the surgery. Senior sister, what's wrong? She's the second child. I want to cut the original incision. Come, pass it to me. Huamin stretched out his hand. Huang Yu handed over the tools with trembling hands. Then Huamin calmly cut open the pregnant woman's abdomen. His strength was precise. However, Huang Yu was still very nervous. She turned her head away and didn't dare to look. So it's a breech position. No wonder there's a lot of bleeding. Her family must be confused. They should have seen it when they did the ultrasound. If it's a breech position, they should have done a C-section a long time ago. Why did they wait until now? Huamin frowned and blamed the patient's family for their ignorance. A breech position, it's a difficult labor. Oh my God, Huang Yu exclaimed. This was the most complicated surgery in history because there were only 2 people in the entire operating room, and both of them were nurses. Huamin performed the surgery without permission from the higher-ups. This was already considered treason. However, Huamin felt that in the face of life, all rules and regulations were pale and powerless because life was the most important thing. She was confident in her medical skills, so she could ensure the safety of the pregnant woman. However, she couldn't think too much about the trouble that would follow. Even if there was trouble in the future, she would face it. After all, this was her choice today. After Qin Chu got home from work, it was already late at night. Because Huamin wasn't home, the huge house seemed empty. He knew that she couldn't sleep when she was on duty, so he sent her a WeChat message. However, there was no response. Qin Chu thought that Huamin was still angry about what happened during the day, so he called her. It rang for a long time but no one picked up. Qin Chu was even more convinced that she was angry. Therefore he put on his jacket, went downstairs and drove to the first hospital. When he passed by a Hong Kong restaurant, he even magically bought supper and hot milk tea. Hello, I'm looking for Huamin from the OB-GYN department, Qin Chu said politely at the hospital's on-call desk. Hey, wait a moment. I'll contact him for you right away. The nurse at the front desk rarely saw such a handsome man, so she welcomed Qin Chu warmly. When their eyes met, she even blushed. Chapter 134. After a few seconds, the young nurse put down the phone and said awkwardly, I called the office but no one picked up. He's probably in surgery. Okay, thank you. After thanking her in a very gentlemanly manner, Chin Chu went straight to the gynecology emergency room on the 4th floor. Chin Chu wore a pair of black casual pants and a dark blue custom-made shirt. He was also carrying the supper he bought. He was thinking about how to coax Huamin. When he arrived at the gynecology and obstetrics office, he found that the door was open and there was no one inside. At this time, if Huamin was not in the office, he should be doing ward rounds. With that in mind, Chin Chu leaned against the wall in the corridor and took out a cigarette to smoke. Because it was late at night, there were very few people in the hospital, so no one cared. In the operating room, Huamin quickly took out the baby and cut the umbilical cord. He was finally relieved. Shall you take the baby and weigh it? Then let the father take a look and send it to the newborn clinic. Okay, a boy or a girl? Hearing the baby's cries, Huang Yu was excited. It's a girl. A girl is good. A girl is a mother's little jacket. This mother is very lucky. After that, Huang Yu took the baby from Huamin's hands and carried it to the side. After cleaning the baby's body, she put it on the electronic scale to weigh it. 52 centimeters, 1 kilograms, Huang Yu said happily. Huamin raised his hand to wipe the sweat on his forehead and smiled. 8 kilograms. This baby is not small. Yes, the baby is so fat and has a hip circumference. It would be strange if she could give birth naturally, Huang Yu muttered. Senior, I'll take the baby out first. Are you okay here alone? I'm fine. You can go. After that, Huamin lowered his head and carefully sutured the pregnant woman's wound. He was careful and fast. In less than 20 minutes he was finished. After the surgery, Huamin took a look at the data of the pregnant woman. When he saw that all the indicators were normal, he was finally relieved. When she walked out of the operating theater, she wanted to find the man to push the pregnant woman to the delivery room with her. However, there was no one in the corridor. At this moment, Huang Yu walked back. Senior sister, are you done? How is the patient? Everything is going well. Don't worry. Where are the patient's family members? Him. When I carried the child out just now, he was furious when he heard that it was a girl. Then he turned around and left. Gone? How can you leave? Huamin could not understand. His wife had just given birth and was still in the operating room, but the patient's family had left. Don't tell me he's running away from the bill? Huang Yu's face was filled with fear. Last year, a pregnant woman's family ran away from the OB/GYN department. In the end, after the pregnant woman recovered, she ran away as well. In the end, the doctors and nurses of the OB/GYN department paid for the surgery that cost more than 10,000 yuan. This incident traumatized everyone. Therefore, Director Wang of the OB/GYN department made a rule that no matter how urgent the situation was, the family must first pay a deposit before the surgery. Otherwise, they would not be able to do anything about it. No, I only did the surgery because I saw the deposit. Huamin was not stupid. Naturally, he would not make such a mistake. Huang Yu was relieved when she heard that the money was paid. What do we do now? Huang Yu looked at Huamin. She did not know what to do. Let's push the patient back to the room. Be careful when you move her. Don't pull on the wound. Okay. Huamin and Huang Yu spent a lot of effort to move the pregnant woman from the operating table. Then they pushed her into the ICU for 24 hours of observation. After everything was done, Huamin returned to the consultation room exhausted. At the door of the consultation room, she saw a familiar figure leaning against the wall from afar. Just the sight of his face was enough to make people forget to breathe. Who is that? He's so handsome, Huang Yu mumbled softly. At this moment, Chin Chu heard footsteps and turned around. The moment he saw Huamin, his cold gaze instantly softened. Chapter 135. Why are you at the hospital? Huamin walked over and looked at Chin Chu in surprise. Supper. Chin Chu did not answer Huamin's question. Instead, she waved the lunchbox in her hand. Huamin was actually a little hungry. She had been busy for a while, so she was tired and hungry. Therefore, when she wanted to refuse, she said, "Thank you." Huamin took the lunchbox and realized that Chin Chu had bought a lot. She immediately gave half of it to Huang Yu. "Thank you, Senior." After that, Huang Yu asked in a low voice, "Senior, who is that? He's super handsome." "A friend." Huamin lowered her voice and whispered. "I don't believe you. Why would a friend come to deliver supper in the middle of the night? I won't disturb you guys anymore. I'll leave now." After that, Huang Yu took the supper and went into the office. Only Qin Chu and Huamin were left in the corridor. Huamin sat down on the bench next to them. Then she slowly opened the lunchbox, took out a soup dumpling and took a big bite out of it. After finishing it in a few bites, she took out a second one. Seeing Huamin eat so inelegantly, the corners of Qin Chu's mouth twitched. "How hungry are you?" "Super hungry," Huamin said honestly. "Are you still angry about what happened this afternoon?" Qin Chu asked again. "Afternoon? What happened?" Huamin was stunned. She seemed to have forgotten what happened. "Okay, pretend I didn't ask." Qin Chu looked helpless. Since the person involved did not remember, he did not want to mention it. "You look very tired. Did you go for ward rounds?" "No, I went for surgery." "Surgery? Qin Chu looked at Huamin in surprise. "It's me. Is this a specialty of your hospital?" "What do you mean?" Huamin was confused. He didn't know what Qin Chu meant. Qin Chu put one hand in his pocket and glanced at Huamin. "There are doctors, but we don't need them. We'll use nurses for the surgery." The doctor skipped work in the middle of the night. "There was a pregnant woman who had a difficult labor. The situation was urgent, so I did it." Huamin said casually about the incident just now. Qin Chu stared at her face for a long while before saying, "How willful." If she told others about this, their first reaction would definitely be that she was crazy. How could a nurse perform a cesarean section? However, Qin Chu was not an ordinary person. After all these years, he knew Huamin's personality too well. It would not be Huamin if she did not do something shocking. Most importantly, Huamian was very confident. Not to mention a C-section, even a heart bypass surgery wouldn't be a problem for her. Last time when Huamian performed a brain surgery for a senior leader, she acted as his assistant. Judging by her practiced posture and calm expression, one could tell that she was a professional. "What you did saved her life, but it will be very troublesome. After tomorrow, the hospital and the patient will not let you go," Qin Chu reminded her kindly. Huamin nodded, swallowed the bun in her mouth and said, "I know. But I can't help it. I can't bear to see 2 lives being lost in front of me." After hearing this, Qin Chu's eyes were slightly moved. Huamin looked cold, calm and emotionless on the surface, but deep down she was very kind. No matter how strong she was or how smart she was still a woman in the end. She was able to downplay the fact that she broke the rules to save someone. It was obvious that she was not trying to be a hero, but to save someone. Qin Chu took the bottle of Evian water he bought, opened it and handed it to Huamin. Then he slowly sat down beside her. "Mian, you asked me before why I studied medicine when I was abroad for 7 years, even though I was going to inherit the family business, right?" Huamin paused, turned her head and looked into Qin Chu's eyes. She was waiting for an answer. She really wanted to know why Qin Chu spent 7 years doing something that had nothing to do with his future. Chapter 136. Because studying medicine is your dream. Qin Chu enunciated each and every word clearly. Huamian, on the other hand, was deeply shocked by his words. She had never thought that Qin Chu would study medicine in America for 7 years because it was her dream. So, even though they had broken up at that time, he still did something related to her. And he did it for 7 years. Was it really worth it? Huamin was speechless for a long time, but her eyes were slightly teary. She remembered that 7 years ago when they were together, the language teacher had a class called 10 Years Later. Then, every student was asked to go on stage and imagine their career 10 years later. It was said that this would stimulate the dreams in every child's heart and motivate them to work hard for 10 years. There was once a teacher in America who did such an experiment. In the end, after 10 years, when he checked the current situation of the children, he shockingly found that 80% of the children chose the career that was mentioned back then. So, the homeroom teacher, Ms. Yao, also had such a class. Qin Chu couldn't remember what the others said, but he remembered that Huamin, a girl with long hair that reached her waist, walked on stage and said, 10 years later, I want to be a doctor because I think that understanding the human body structure, developing ways to cure all kinds of diseases and extending human life is the greatest invention to date. At that time, some students mocked and said, isn't it just a doctor? Why are you making it sound so complicated? At that time, Huamin replied coldly, so what if you look down on doctors? Will you never fall sick and go to the hospital in your life? At that time, that student was speechless by Huamin's question. Ms. Yao praised Huamin's dream. Later, when Qin Chu went on stage, the teacher asked him, "What is your dream?" He looked around and said arrogantly, "My dream is to help Huamin realize her dream." After he said this, the class exploded. Everyone knew that Huamin and Qin Chu were in a relationship. But to say it in class, especially in front of the teacher, it was really melodramatic. Huamin was so embarrassed that he covered his face and didn't dare to raise his head. Teacher Yao also coughed dryly to express his awkwardness, not knowing what to say. It had been a long time since that incident, and Huamian thought it was just a joke back then, a time when children's words carried no harm. Unexpectedly, 7 years later, Huamin was just a nurse, far from her dream. However, Qin Chu had silently helped her fulfill her dreams. His thoughts were pulled back. Huamin stared into Qin Chu's eyes. His eyes were red. "Are you stupid? What does my dream have to do with you?" Huamin asked, choking with sobs. "Everything about you is related to me," Qin Chu replied stubbornly. Huamin remained silent because he did not know what to say next. And so they did, side by side, on a night like this, a night like this, a night of peace. "If you say that, I'll think that you like me," Huamin said shyly. "I don't like you. You're so direct." Hearing Qin Chu's rejection, Huamin was instantly disappointed. "I've never liked you," Qin Chu repeated. "I understand." Huamin nodded, but his heart ached. Qin Chu turned his head and looked at Huamin's side profile. Then he reached out his hand and hugged her shoulder. There were some things that he did not want to say clearly because he felt that there was no need to talk about loving someone all the time. Actions were better than words. There was still a long way to go. He believed that one day Huamin would understand his feelings. Huamin felt the warmth from Qin Chu's palms slowly spread over her shoulder. This feeling was incredibly comforting. She took the opportunity to gently lean her head on Qin Chu's shoulder. She suddenly felt that she had a shoulder to lean on. "Qin Chu." "Yes. The supper you bought for me tonight must be very expensive, right?" Just when Qin Chu thought that Huamin was going to say something emotional, what she said made him sweat. Chapter 137. "Yeah, it's expensive, very expensive," Qin Chu purposely said. "I knew it wasn't cheap, just look at the packaging. But it's really delicious, you get what you pay for. There's a reason why it's so expensive, just like Haagen-Dazs ice cream," Huamin exclaimed. "That's why, since you're working so hard, you have to eat better. If that's the case, I'll finish the rest." After speaking, Huamin stood up, took the leftover soup dumplings and shrimp dumplings and started eating again. Qin Chu didn't know whether to laugh or cry. After accompanying Huamin at the hospital for a while, Qin Chu reluctantly left. When Huamin returned to his office, he was bombarded by Huang Yu. "Senior, hurry up and tell me who's that guy. He's really just a friend." "I don't believe you, hurry up and tell me, is he your new boyfriend?" "Fine, he is." Huamin felt that he couldn't fool the little girl, so he had no choice but to confess. Huang Yu clapped her hands and laughed. "Haha, I knew it was your boyfriend, he's so good. How did you meet him?" We've known each other for many years." Huamin thought for a while and replied. "Then you guys are childhood friends." "You could say that." "That's so romantic, right? Is he rich? What does he do?" "I saw the packaging of the supper. It's from Li Fuji Hong Kong restaurant. That restaurant is super expensive. It costs more than 500 yuan per person. He bought you supper for over 1,000 yuan. He's definitely not an ordinary office worker." Although Huang Yu was a naive and sweet girl, she was very fashionable. She was very knowledgeable about food and clothing. Therefore, she was very knowledgeable, making it impossible for Huamin to fool her. He's kind of rich, his family runs a small business, that's all." "Is he a local tycoon?" "Yes, he's a nouveau riche." Huamin answered with difficulty. She didn't want to reveal too much about Qin Chu's identity, because it was too flashy. If this girl found out that Qin Chu was the big boss of GK, the entire hospital would know by tomorrow. "Impressive, senior sister. No wonder you didn't take a fancy to the forensic doctor that the head nurse introduced to you. It turns out that you have your own candidate. He's so outstanding, rich. He's practically perfect. Speaking of which, your boyfriend's temperament is very good. He doesn't look like a nouveau riche at all. Don't tell anyone about this. I don't want to make it public." "I know, but if Ning Ziyuan knew, he would be furious." "I left him and found someone better," Huang Yu laughed. "It has nothing to do with him anymore. He wouldn't be so bored as to pay attention to my private affairs." Yeah, I heard that they're getting married soon. They're probably busy with the wedding details. When the time comes, Wu Xiaoxue will show off. Upon hearing this, Huamin only smiled and didn't comment. By the time Huamin got home from work, it was already past 8 a.m. the next morning. Qin Chu had already gone to work, so the house was empty. Huamin drank a glass of wine, ate a piece of bread, took a shower and got ready to go to bed. Just then she received a call from the head nurse. The head nurse's tone was extremely serious. Huamin, come back to the hospital immediately. Huamin helplessly got up and called a cab to the hospital. She knew that the head nurse was looking for her because of last night's surgery. To her surprise, as soon as Huamin arrived at the OB/GYN clinic, she was greeted by her colleagues. Nurse Lin Lin whispered, "Hurry up and go in. The head nurse and Dr. Wu are arguing. Dr. Wu wants to fire you." Upon hearing this, Huamin's expression changed slightly. Chapter 138. When Huamin walked in, the head nurse was still arguing with Professor Wu. "No matter what, I will never agree to fire Huamin," the head nurse insisted. Wu Xiaoxue looked at the head nurse arrogantly and said, "Do you know that you are trying to protect her? Who does she think she is? She's just a lowly nurse. How dare she operate on a pregnant woman? Does she really think she is Norman Bethune? What if there is a medical accident? Do you know that it will affect the reputation of our hospital? Can you bear the responsibility? Or can she?" The main problem is that Huamin performed the surgery very well. The other doctors in our department have already examined her carefully. The wound of the pregnant woman was stitched up perfectly, and there was no problem with the newborn. There was no medical accident. Just because she's fine now doesn't mean she'll be fine in the future. Even if she's fine, Huamian has violated the hospital's rules. This is a hospital, a very serious place, not a place for individual heroism. If every nurse is so capable, why would they need us doctors? They could just hire nurses with a basic salary. What does a head nurse know about medical principles? Your job is to assist us doctors, not to do whatever you want. I will personally report this to the director. Anyway, I will not fire Huamin. I don't need you to say anything. I have already called my uncle. He is very angry. He will fire Huamin sooner or later. Even if you don't agree, there is nothing you can do. You're just a head nurse. The hospital does not belong to your family. What can you do if you don't agree? Why don't you just get out of here with her? Our gynecology department is in a mess now. It is time for us to reorganize ourselves, Wu Xiaoxue said strongly as she ran her fingers through her slightly curly hair. I will. If the director fires Huamin, I will resign immediately, the head nurse said coldly. When Huamin heard this, she hurriedly went over and grabbed the head nurse's arm. Head nurse, don't be like this. This is all my fault. I can't implicate you. If the director wants to fire me, I'll leave. Don't make things difficult for me. Huamin, I heard about what happened last night. You did very well. Although you violated the rules, you saved the lives of the mother and son. You deserve respect. On the contrary, some people neglected their duties. They were supposed to be on duty, but they skipped work without permission. As a result, no one could operate on the pregnant woman. That is the shame of our hospital. What did you say? Say that again. Wu Xiaoxue's eyes immediately glowed with an ominous light. Stop arguing. Everyone stop arguing. I know this happened because of me. Last night, before I made this decision, I had already thought of the worst possible outcome. I am very calm. I accept the hospital's decision. That's for the best. Just you wait. Wu Xiaoxue glared at Huamin. Huang Yu interjected, Mian, if you're leaving, I'm leaving too. We saved their lives. Not only did the hospital not reward us, they even want to fire us. What kind of logic is this? I may not be educated, but don't lie to me. Do you think this has nothing to do with you? If she's leaving, then you have to leave too, Wu Xiaoxue said as she glanced at Huang Yu. Alright, let's stop arguing. Let's wait for the director to make the final arrangements, the head nurse yelled sternly. Then the director's assistant came to the OB/GYN consultation room. He glanced at Huamin and said, the director wants to see you. Come with me. Huamin nodded and quietly followed behind the man. Huang Yu, Lin Lin, the head nurse, and a few other people in the consultation room were all very worried about her safety. Wu Xiaoxue sneered as if she could already foresee Huamin's future. She was originally thinking of a way to get rid of Huamin. After all, seeing her boyfriend's ex-girlfriend hanging around in front of her all day made her really uncomfortable. To her surprise, Hwamion had walked right into the muzzle of the gun without any effort. Who gave such a lowly intern the courage to pick up a scalpel and perform a C-section on a pregnant woman? He was so bold that he could go to heaven. Inside the director's office. This was Hwamin's third time meeting the director. The first time was when she was Chin-chu's assistant, and the second time was because of her brother's car accident. Hwamin didn't think that as an intern nurse for more than half a year, she would be meeting the director for the third time in such a short time. She didn't know if she should be happy or sad. "You're here. Have a seat." The director was still very polite. "Director, this is my fault. Please fire me. I won't drag the hospital down with me." Before the director could say anything, Hwamin took the initiative to resign. Chapter 139. President Wu glanced at Hwamin and slowly said, "Who said I was going to fire you?" Hwamin froze. Did he not think that she deserved to be fired for what she did last night? "I heard about what happened last night and investigated it thoroughly. You did indeed violate the rules, and I have to say, you are shockingly brave," President Wu said as he stared at Hwamin with a stern expression. Hwamin silently lowered her head. She knew last night that the hospital would not approve of her decision. After all, the hospital would not allow her to mess around. "Although the hospital does not approve of what you did, I personally admire you. I would like to represent myself and pay my respects to you. Last night you saved 2 lives. After he finished speaking, President Wu stood up and respectfully bowed to Hwamin. Hwamin was dumbfounded. What was going on? "Director?" She wanted to say something but stopped. "Don't worry, let me finish. I just said that the salute just now was on my own behalf, but the hospital doesn't allow you to mess around. Nothing can be accomplished without rules and standards. As a nurse, and an intern nurse at that, you crossed the line and used the hospital's operating room and surgical equipment to perform surgery on patients without the permission of the leaders. This is quite a serious case, so after a discussion with several leaders I have decided," Hwamin became a little nervous when she heard this, "we have decided to temporarily transfer you out of the OB/GYN department and into the laboratory department." Hwamin seemed to breathe a sigh of relief when she heard this. It turned out that the director was only transferring her to another department. However, she really didn't want to leave the OB/GYN department. "Do you accept this punishment?" "I accept, but I have a request, Director." "What is it?" "Can you not fire Huang Yu? She was only my assistant, she didn't do anything that crossed the line." Hwamin did not forget to plead for Huang Yu. "The nurse who was with you has also been transferred out of the laboratory. Both of you should be transferred together. Otherwise, it will have a bad impact on the gynecology department. If the patient's family members make a scene, it will be difficult for us to explain." "I'm relieved." Hwamin felt much better when he heard that Huang Yu would be transferred to the laboratory with him. "Hwamin, your head nurse once highly recommended you to me. I've also seen your resume. I heard that your IQ is shockingly high. No matter what it is, as long as you're willing to learn, you can learn it easily. You can learn something that others have to work hard for 10 years in a very short time, and you can even do it very well. After what happened last night, I really saw your great potential, so if the hospital wants to send you abroad for an exchange, would you be willing?" Hearing the dean's kind invitation, Hwamin smiled with relief. "There's no need for that, Director. I'm already so old and I don't want to learn anything. I'm quite happy working in our hospital and it's pretty good. I'm really grateful that you didn't fire me this time. I heard that you had multiple roles last night. You were the chief surgeon and the anesthesiologist. A few doctors in the gynecology and obstetrics department were amazed when they saw the patient's wound and recovery. Pregnant women have a difficult breech position and the surgery is very difficult. Not to mention a newbie like you, even an experienced chief physician would not dare to operate on her. You're very good. Have you done any clinical experiments before?" Hwamin shook his head. "Never. Last night was the first time I actually operated on her. That's why I said that you're really a medical genius. It's a pity that you're a nurse. It's a waste of your talent." President Wu looked into Hwamin's eyes and said meaningfully. Chapter 140. "Director, you flatter me, there's nothing to be sad about. To be honest, it's good that I found a suitable position for myself. Being a doctor is hard work, so maybe I'm selfish and don't want to tire myself out. Huamin smiled again. She was glad that President Wu didn't have any prejudice against her because of what Wu Xiaoxue said. This meant that the director was a very fair old man. Okay, since this is your decision, I won't force you. Go report to the laboratory. Starting today, you'll be working in the OB/GYN department. Hey, director. After walking out of the director's office, Huamin suddenly felt a lot better. However, she really didn't want to leave the OB/GYN department. Before Huamin returned to the OB/GYN department, the director's office issued 2 announcements. First, 2 nurses in the OB/GYN department, Huang Yu and Huamin, violated regulations and were transferred out of the OB/GYN department. Second, the deputy director of the OB/GYN department, Wu Xiaoxue, neglected her duties last night and left her post without permission, which negatively affected the hospital. Her title of deputy director will be removed and she will be demoted to a normal doctor. At the same time, her salary will be deducted for half a year as a warning. When Wu Xiaoxue received the punishment, she was extremely embarrassed. As President Wu's niece, she was punished by her uncle. She angrily ran to the top floor and made a scene. However, President Wu's assistant stopped her and said that the director didn't want to see her. Wu Xiaoxue was so angry that her face turned green. In the end, Ning Ziyuan personally went upstairs and pulled her down. Xiaoxue, stop it, you're going to affect the baby. No, I have to ask my uncle why he did this. Why is he siding with that bitch? Did he sleep with that bitch Huamin? Wu Xiaoxue was so angry that she didn't know what to say. After Ning Ziyuan heard this, his expression changed slightly. What nonsense are you talking about? What? You don't like to hear me talk about your ex-lover. That's the truth. If there wasn't something fishy going on here, why didn't Uncle just fire that arrogant girl? You know what she did last night, right? She's just a little nurse, but she actually performed a cesarean section on a pregnant woman. She even worked as an anesthesiologist. What a joke. Ning Ziyuan had heard about what had happened last night, because the news had spread throughout the hospital. He didn't expect Huamian to be so bold, but he really admired her for what she did. It was said that the surgery was done perfectly, and several obstetricians and gynecologists were ashamed of their inferiority. I heard that the operation was very successful. Why do you keep harping on this? Ning Ziyuan frowned. Wu Xiaoxue was furious. She slapped Ning Ziyuan's face. What nonsense are you talking about? Who's your woman? Xiaoxue, that's not what I meant. What I meant was that you have to calm down and deal with this matter. I can't calm down. I want to see my uncle. He can't treat me like this. If he doesn't let me be the director, I'll quit. I'm going to tell my dad how my uncle treated me. I want to resign. I don't want to be a normal doctor, I'm a professor. Wu Xiaoxue yelled at the door of the director's office. President Wu was unmoved. He knew all too well how willful his niece was. However, he knew a little about Huamin. He finally understood why such an ordinary-looking girl would be favored by someone like Qin Chu. He was so special. Director, Miss Wu is making a scene at the door. Do you want to see her? The assistant couldn't stand it anymore, so he went in to ask the director. Don't worry about her. Let her make a scene. Tell her that if she doesn't want to be the director, I'll accept her resignation. Let her go. Yes. Just as Wu Xiaoxue and Ning Ziyuan were arguing, the director's assistant walked out and said in all seriousness, Miss Wu, the director said that if you want to resign, he'll approve it. You can leave now. What? My uncle really said that? Wu Xiaoxue's face was filled with disbelief. Huamin also did not expect to see her high school classmate, or rather rival, in the laboratory on the first day. She was not a rival in love because Qin Chu did not even look at her in the eye. Not long ago he even embarrassed her in the WeChat group. I'm quite surprised too, Huamin replied. Draw my blood. I've been having a bad cold recently, so I want to do a blood test. Are you sure you want me to do it? Huamin confirmed again. Of course I'm paying you. Shouldn't you be serving me? Lu Xing was aggressive. No, I thought you would be worried about me. You're afraid that I'll take revenge on you. Do you dare? To be honest, I don't like you, so I might not be polite when I draw your blood. Bear with it. After saying that, Huamin picked up the needle on the catheter and inserted it into the blood vessel on Lu Xing's arm. Lu Xing frowned at the sudden stab. Really hurt a little. I heard that you got back together with Qin Chu? Lu Xing suddenly asked. Chapter 142. Who did you hear that from? Huamin didn't raise her head. Instead she held on to the catheter and asked calmly. You don't have to worry about that. Just answer me, am I right? Why should I answer you? I'm not your friend. What a joke. Of course we've never been friends. We're just rivals in love. Upon hearing this, Huamin raised her head. She glanced at Lu Xing and said, let me correct you. We're just enemies, not rivals in love. Qinchu has never been with you. We'll be together. Just wait and see. Lu Xing clenched her teeth and stared at Huamin. Really? Good luck then. After speaking, Huamin pulled out the needle and said, you better press down there, or else you'll get a bump. Did you do it on purpose? Lu Xing was a little angry. Of course not. If I did it on purpose, I wouldn't have found the blood vessel in one go. I would have pricked you repeatedly until the blood vessel was damaged. How vicious, Lu Xing cursed. Actually, I didn't do that, did I? Huamin only smiled. She wasn't angry. Before leaving, Lu Xing looked at Huamin and said, Huamin, you're still as arrogant as ever. I won't admit defeat. Just you wait, Qinchu will be mine sooner or later. Okay, I hope you never wake up from your sweet dream. Upon hearing what Huamin said, Lu Xing was so angry that she turned around and left. Huamin chuckled. She seemed to have found the feeling of bickering with Lu Xing back in school. The truth was she didn't hate Lu Xing at all, even though she was always hostile towards her. However, she was at least an open and above-board person. If she had something bad to say, she would say it directly. She wouldn't do anything behind people's backs. Wasn't there a saying that one would rather offend a gentleman than a villain? Therefore, Huamin felt that Lu Xing was at least a respectable opponent. When they were having lunch in the cafeteria, some people pointed at Huamin, praising and criticizing him. Some praised her for her courage and medical skills, saying that she would be a talent sooner or later. Some said that she would be kicked out of the hospital sooner or later if she didn't court death. However, none of that mattered to Huamin. Senior sister, aren't you angry that everyone is talking about you? Huang Yu asked in a low voice. Why should I be angry? Life is my own. If I care too much about other people's opinions, then wouldn't my life be like a pair of underpants? I'll have to take whatever fart others throw at me. Ha, senior sister, you are so cute. If I were a man, I would definitely marry you. Huang Yu couldn't stop laughing. Come on, if you're a man, I won't marry you. As the two of them chatted, they did not notice the person behind them. Wu Xiaoxue was emotionally unstable, so she skipped work and went home to rest. Ning Ziyuan was physically and mentally exhausted. He was not in the mood to work all morning, so he didn't want to eat lunch. However, he heard from his colleagues at the ophthalmology department that they saw Huamin, so for some reason he came as well. Mian, I heard about what happened last night. You're amazing. Huamin was talking and laughing with Huang Yu. When he turned around and saw Ning Ziyuan, his bright smile immediately disappeared. Thank you. Her tone was especially distant. Can I talk to you alone? I have something to tell you, Ning Ziyuan said awkwardly. Then he looked at Huang Yu meaningfully. Huang Yu didn't dare to make the decision. She looked at Huamin again as if asking for Huamin's opinion. Chapter 143. It's okay, you can talk about it here. After all, you're with Professor Wu right now. It would be bad if she found out and misunderstood. Huamin unexpectedly rejected Ning Ziyuan's request. Mian, I beg you, please give me a chance to talk to you alone, okay? It was the first time that Ning Ziyuan had been so humble, and Huamin's heart softened. Mian, I'll be going now, okay? Huang Yu didn't want to stay here any longer, so she got up and left with her tray. Ning Ziyuan took the opportunity to sit down across from Huamin. Aren't you afraid that Professor Wu will hear you talking to me so brazenly? Asked Professor Wu. I'm not afraid of her, it doesn't matter, Ning Ziyuan said calmly. Oh, what do you want to talk to me about? Hurry up, I'm a little busy and have to go back to work, Huamin said as he looked at the time on his phone. Ning Ziyuan glanced at Huamin and whispered mysteriously, I'm going to attend an ophthalmology conference in Hong Kong next month. That's good news, congratulations. But everyone has to write a new academic paper. You know that you helped me before, so can you help me this time as well? Ning Ziyuan stuttered. Huamin understood that Huamin had a favor to ask of him. No wonder Huamin was so polite. I'm sorry, I can't help you. Mian, please. Ziyuan, you can't always rely on others. If you have so much time, why don't you research how to achieve success in ophthalmology? Really, as long as you put your heart into it, you'll learn something. After all, no one can steal what you've learned. But I don't have the talent. You're a genius, I know. Even if I'm a genius, I don't have to help you. I can give you money. Can you write another one for me? How about 30,000 yuan? Huamin smiled. A smile that contained a lot of emotions. However, Ningxiong couldn't tell. He anxiously asked, 50,000 is 50,000 enough? You can buy a cherry scooter for your brother with 50,000 yuan. Doesn't he love cars? Think about it. Yuan, you might not know this, but I'm not poor anymore. I don't need money. Upon hearing Ningxiong's emphasis on money, Huamin smiled. Ningxiong slightly froze, then he remembered what happened with Qin Chu. Yeah, how could I forget? You have a rich ex-boyfriend, how could you lack money? It's not about money. Anyway, I can't help you. Women are so heartless. You won't help me after we broke up. Huh, you're so realistic. Ningxiong laughed mockingly when he saw that Huamin wasn't willing to help him. Huamin was a little unhappy as he retorted, same to you. When it comes to this, you can only be better than me. Thinking back to when his brother needed money so badly for his surgery, Huamin felt like he was helping Ningxiong. He really was asshole. Then Huamin threw down the unfinished food on his plate, got up and left. Ningxiong felt that the current Huamin was completely different from before. She wasn't gentle, she wasn't low-key, and she didn't even smile at him. When Huamin got home from work, Qin Chu was there as well. Congratulations, you don't have to work night shifts anymore, Qin Chu said proudly. How did you know? Huamin remembered that he didn't tell Qin Chu that he was being transferred out of the OB/GYN department. Chapter 144. I had lunch with Wu Zhongxing at noon. Huamin was speechless. Okay, so you were the one who asked President Wu not to fire me? How is that possible? After he made the decision, he took the initiative to call me to arrange a meal. Huamin was confused. Huamin knew that with Qin Chu's arrogance he wouldn't casually ask someone out for a meal. Now that he agreed to a meal with President Wu, it seemed like he was in a good mood. Actually, Huamin's guess was pretty close. Although President Wu didn't give Huamin a good position, he wouldn't have to work the night shift anymore. This made Qin Chu very happy. That was why he was willing to give Wu Zhongxing a chance to have a meal with him. So you're saying that you pulled some strings for me? How annoying. Huamin covered his mouth and laughed. Of course not, he made the decision himself. I didn't say anything. Qin Chu was afraid that Huamin would be angry, so he immediately explained. That's why I'm annoyed. Qin Chu froze. Then he heard Huamin continue, shouldn't you have asked the director to give us the position of deputy director? Otherwise, wouldn't you have eaten this meal for nothing? Qin Chu was speechless. Okay, for the first time he was speechless. Seeing that Qin Chu was speechless, Huamin was in a good mood. Have you eaten dinner? Not yet, what do you want to eat? Let's go out. No, the food outside is too greasy. Homemade food is fine, I'll make it. After Huamin changed his clothes, he ran into the kitchen. Qin Chu sat in the living room reading the financial news on his laptop. Such a simple and peaceful life was actually what he had always dreamed of. Scrambled eggs with tomatoes, braised pork ribs, and borscht soup. The combination of one meat and one vegetable was perfect. Huamin was very talented, so the food he made was very delicious. Qin Chu ate 2 bowls of rice for the first time. I saw Lu Xing today. Huamin mentioned inadvertently. Qin Chu didn't say anything, as if he wasn't interested in this person. She also said that she won't admit defeat. She wants to fight with me. She said that you two will be together sooner or later. Huamin secretly looked at Qin Chu's expression and continued. She's quite daring. Why didn't you ask her if she wants to go to Mars? They just happen to lack someone who likes to dream. Why are you saying that? People still need to have dreams. What if they come true? Huamin laughed. Qin Chu immediately raised his head, looked at him faintly and said coldly, her dream will never come true. I'm just kidding. Why are you so serious? Huamin saw that Qin Chu was angry and thought that it was too funny. It was rare for him to be angry with him. Don't make such stupid jokes in the future, Qin Chu scolded. Huamin was just about to say something when his phone rang. He picked up the phone and before he could say anything he heard a woman crying on the other end. Lingling, what's wrong? Huamin asked worriedly. On the other end, Zhu Lingling refused to speak. She just kept crying, Lingling, don't cry. Tell me what happened. Huamin couldn't sit still anymore. He picked up his phone and stood up. Mian, right now. I really want to die. Zhu Lingling's voice was hoarse. However, he could still tell that it was her voice. Huamin's heart trembled when he heard this. He immediately asked, Lingling, where are you right now? I'll come and find you. Chapter 145. I think I'm at the Rainbow Bridge. Zhu Lingling's voice was stuttering. Not only was she extremely sad, but she was also drunk. Therefore, her pronunciation was not very accurate when she spoke. Stay there and don't move. I'll come find you immediately. Huamin hung up the phone, stood up and picked up his coat from the rack in the living room. What's wrong? Qin Chu saw her panicked expression. Something's wrong with Lingling. I'll go check it out. I'll drive you. It's okay. Huamin thought that Qin Chu would be tired from work, so he might as well take a cab. He didn't want to trouble him. But before he could finish speaking, Qin Chu had already put on his coat and left with his car keys. His efficiency was unparalleled. The traffic wasn't too heavy at night and Qin Chu drove fast, so they arrived at the Rainbow Bridge in less than 15 minutes. From afar, Huamin saw a familiar voice standing on the bridge. She was wearing a red dress and swaying as she stood by the bridge. Who else could it be but Lingling? Oh my god, is this girl trying to kill herself? Huamin didn't have time to think. As soon as the car stopped, he opened the door and ran out. Qin Chu parked the car and followed him. Zhu Lingling was their high school classmate, and the three of them had known each other for many years. Although Qin Chu wasn't interested in any woman other than Huamin, he knew that Zhu Lingling was Huamin's best and only friend. Lingling. Huamin hugged Zhu Lingling from behind and forcefully dragged her down from the Rainbow Bridge. This girl was usually carefree, cheerful and had a sharp tongue. It was rare for her to lose her composure like this. Huamin guessed that something must have happened to make her act so strangely. When Zhu Lingling saw Huamin, she hugged him and cried uncontrollably, Mian, I don't want to live anymore. I'm so sad. My heart hurts. It hurts so much here. Zhu Lingling cried as she pointed at her chest. Lingling, we're not in a hurry. We can talk about it slowly. Let's go. Huamin took off his jacket and put it on Zhu Lingling. Qin Chu didn't say anything. He immediately took off his jacket and put it on Hua. Can I take her home first? Huamian turned around to ask Qin Chu. Get in the car. Qin Chu's a lots. Estas was Qin Chu's was. In addition, the two of them were secretly married, so they had never brought an outsider home. Huamin was afraid that Qin Chu would be upset, so he asked. But for the first time, Qin Chu actually agreed. This comforted Huamin a lot. After driving them home, Qin Chu said to Huamin downstairs, I'm going to the company. You guys can go upstairs. Huamin knew that Qin Chu didn't want to, so he wanted to give Huamin and Zhu Lingling some privacy to talk. At this moment she was really grateful to Qin Chu. She was grateful for Qin Chu's understanding. Although he was domineering and arrogant, he knew when to make things difficult for Huamin. Go upstairs. Call me if you need anything. Then Qin Chu watched as Huamin took Zhu Lingling upstairs. Then he turned around and drove away. Huamin helped Zhu Lingling change into a nightgown. Then he poured her a cup of hot water with brown sugar and dates. The two of them leaned on the sofa. At this time, Zhu Lingling was no longer so agitated. She was a lot more clear-headed. Lingling, tell me. What happened? Huamin asked as he lifted Zhu Lingling's bangs. He felt sorry for her. Chapter 146. Zhu Lingling wiped her red and swollen eyes with a tissue and said in a hoarse voice, Mian, I'm heartbroken. I knew it. Otherwise there's nothing that can defeat you. Huamin didn't seem surprised at all. After all these years he knew Zhu Lingling's temper too well. This girl was insensitive and didn't care about trifles. She was loyal to her friends and filial to her family, but she was too infatuated with relationships. Zhu Lingling had a few relationships that ended without a happy ending. Every time she was heartbroken and couldn't extricate herself. So, every time Zhu Lingling announced that she was in a relationship, Huamin looked happy for her on the surface, but he was secretly worried. He was afraid that the man she found wasn't reliable and would hurt her again. Sure enough, I trusted him so much and loved him so much, but he lied to me. Did you know? He lied to me. Speaking of that man, Zhu Lingling became emotional. Huamin passed her a tissue again and comforted her. Calm down, speak slowly. We met on the plane. He's a first-class guest. He's not that handsome, but he has a good temperament. He's very mature. You know that I've always liked mature men more than little fresh meat. Huamin nodded to show that he understood. He took the initiative to add me on WeChat and we got along very well. Not long after we started dating. His job is not bad. He's a senior engineer, the kind that does construction. I've always thought that science guys are the kind that's dumb, but he's different. He's humorous and witty, and most importantly, he's very meticulous. He's very nice to me and he's also very generous. You also know that women have vanity. Although I also like those luxury goods, I really can't buy them often. After he found out, he gave them to me. Did you find out that those luxury goods were fake? Huamin interrupted and asked. Of course not, how could you think that? Zhu Lingling looked at Huamin helplessly. Huamin smiled. I'm just teasing you. You're a purchasing agent yourself. Of course you can tell the difference. That's right. He can't lie to me about that. Every month he's afraid that I won't have enough to spend, so he'll give me tens of thousands. I really thought that he was the one for me, you know? I even told my parents that I plan to meet them in a while because I don't want to be a stewardess anymore. I want to have a family and my own baby. Big sis, get to the point. Can you stop exaggerating? This isn't the plot of a novel. Huamin said helplessly. The point is, I found out that he actually has a wife. Zhu Lingling burst into tears again. It was obvious that she was very sad. So you've been cheated on by a mistress? Huamin looked sympathetically at her best friend. Yes, his wife took the initiative to call me and told me a lot over the phone. Did she scold you? Huamin asked. Zhu Lingling shook her head. Just scold me. It's not like you don't know me. I'm very good at arguing. I usually don't lose. Because she didn't scold me, she was very polite to me. I can tell that she's a very well-educated woman. He told me some things about her and him. They have 2 lively and cute daughters. They were originally a happy family. So your heart softened and you decided to quit. Huamin guessed that her good friend was a kind person. She definitely wouldn't continue to be a mistress. Wrong. She didn't persuade me to quit. She asked me to persuade that scumbag to agree to divorce her. You mean that woman asked you to persuade the man to divorce her? Huamin was a little surprised.